Hello and welcome to tizoguitar. If you're new here, my name is Tyler Griffiths. I go by Tizo, and this channel is all about learning guitar, but with a special focus on R&B music. So if you're into that, I definitely suggest subscribing to the channel. That way you don't miss out on any future content. And don't forget to click that little notification bell so you don't miss whenever I go live, like tonight, or if I drop a new video. So right now, my current live stream schedule is Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time and Saturday afternoons, Saturday at 12 Eastern time as well. Today, we have a really good song. It's called For Anyone by H.E.R. All right, and I picked this song for a couple of reasons. The first one is I really like the song. H.E.R. is an amazing artist. Really enjoyed the vibe of the song, and I thought it'd be a good one to cover on the channel. But also, I picked this song because, ironically, there is no guitar in the song. So when I thought about it, I was like, well, how can I make a guitar part for this song, or how can I follow the chord changes and still have it sound appropriate for the song? So that's always a good thing to do. I definitely highly recommend, excuse me, if you ever get the chance to play along to songs that have no guitar on them. Try to see if you can try to approximate the sound of that piano or of that saxophone or whatever it is. You'll end up learning a whole lot more vocabulary and have a lot more interesting sounds that come out of it. So I'm going to demonstrate. We'll get right to it. Go ahead and grab your guitar. Okay, first things first, let's take a look at these chords. So we have just a 4-chord progression, very simple. And what you heard me play in that intro was these 4 chords, but it's also a simplified version of the progression. So I'm going to show you these first 4 chords, and then I'm going to show you something that's a little bit closer to what the recording has going on. Okay, so first chord is going to be a B minor 7. We're just going to bar, fret 7. Every string except for the A string, essentially. And sometimes I actually stop short of playing that bottom E string. It is a part of the chord. It's not going to sound bad, but usually I like to just play down to the B string. All right, so every string except for the A and the E string on fret 7. That's our B minor 7. Now our D7, you would bar the 5th fret from the A string down. Ring finger is going to go on the D string, fret 7. Pinky's going to go on the B string, fret 7. And once again, you can play down to the high E string, or you can stop short on the B string. Next one, we have our G major 7. So I have my index finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string. We're skipping over the A string, making sure that we mute that by resting our index finger on that A string. All right. Then we have our ring finger on fret 4 of the D string. We have my pinky on fret 4 of the G string. And we have our middle finger on fret 3 of the B string. All right, that's our G major 7. And final chord is going to be our G minor 7. So it's just like the B minor 7. On fret 7, we're just sliding it up to fret 3. So playing every string except for the A and the high E string on fret 3. And it's a really cool move that we have going on there, right? So we're going from this major chord to this minor chord, but the root never changes. We're still on G. And so what we're doing there is we're going from the, excuse me, what would be the 4 chord, and then we're playing that 4 chord as a minor chord. All right, which is not typical, but it has a really nice sound. It's like a little bit of ear candy for you. Typically, the 4 chord would always be a major chord, but we're kind of deviating from that in a more musical way. That sounds good. Okay, so it really is that simple. You just play the chords in order. So B minor 7, D7, G major 7, G minor 7. All right, so that is the very basic loop that is going on for most of the song. And now, earlier I told you that this song has no guitar in it, right? So really what I'm doing is just following those changes. But when I was learning it, I said, how can I make this more like the recording? In the recording, they're playing a Rhodes piano or some kind of Rhodes patch on a piano. And so Rhodes is very known for that like tremolo sound, that effect that you hear on my guitar right now, if you're not aware of it. Why it feels like my volume is going in and out. That's intentional. It's called tremolo. And that sound is very characteristic of the Rhodes piano, which is why I threw it on my signal chain. That way my guitar would sound similar to the piano in the track. All right. So those are the basic chords, but now what the piano is kind of doing is more like still playing that B minor 7, but instead of going to this C7 or this D7, sorry, which is what we're playing on guitar, they're playing what is more similar to, at least my ear hears it as as this chord right here. What is that chord? Glad you asked. So that chord happens to be a C6-9 chord. It's like a C major 6 with a 9 added. So I'm just barring with my index finger on fret 2 of the D and G strings, middle fingers on the A string, fret 3, ring fingers on the B string, fret 3. All right, has a very similar sound, a little bit different. So what's going on here? Why are we doing this chord, which is not the exact same as this D7? Well, the reason why it works is because when it comes to the number system, right, we have a certain chord qualities that we assign to each of those numbers, where the first chord is major, second chord is minor, third chord is minor, fourth chord is major, so on and so on. We have these like assigned chord types to each of the numbers. And what happens is, even though, let's say the one chord, for instance, has to be, or typically has to be a major chord, you can play any kind of major chord you want, right? And so you could play a major 7, you could play a major 6, you can play a, what would be, let's see, a major 9, if I go on this side, we're at G, right? So you can play major 9s, you can play major 11s, so on and so forth. Any kind of major chord will work in that spot and still kind of follow the rules of major chords, right? Now, what we're doing here is, while you can always change to some other kind of the same chord type, you can also always play an inversion of that chord. So you could play like a regular major chord, you can play a first inversion major chord, right? You could play second inversion. There's all kinds of ways where you could just rearrange those notes and it still works. And what you end up doing is, the C6-9 is an inversion. It's actually third inversion of a D7 chord, or D9 chord, right? So the original chord was a D7, which a D9 is also a fitting substitute for that D7. And if you want to rearrange those notes to third inversion, where basically you have the fourth note as the lowest note, you get this C6-9 chord. I know that was really complicated, but I'm just trying to explain the backstory of why this chord works as a substitute, even though it's not the same name. All right. So once again, so what the piano is kind of doing is they're doing this B minor 7, then they're going to the C6-9, then they have this little slide. Whoop. Right, and they're holding that, and then they go to the G minor 7. All right, so one more time. And then right before, you can see this next chord is a C7. Right before they go back to the top of the progression, they kind of sneak in this C7 chord. So it's kind of like this. All right, so it's a little bit of a turnaround in between starting over the progression. So one more time. Just like that. And once again, that C7, just to break it down, middle finger on the third fret of the A string, index finger on the second fret of the D string, ring finger is on the third fret of the G string, and pinky is stretching over onto the B string, fret 5. All right, and you're just really quickly hitting that once, right back into it. All right, so that's the basics right there, and then also a little bit more of a complicated version. Let me just make sure I broke down that slide that comes from the C6-9 chord. We're sliding from second fret of the G string on the B string, fret 3. We're just sliding those two up, both up 2 frets, and then back. All right, so it's a part of that C6-9 chord. We're just sliding it down 2 frets and back. That's where that's coming from. Okay. All right. So that is it for that. I definitely encourage you to check out the song. There's a lot more interesting parts there. There's some things that the piano is doing that are a little bit tough to mimic with guitar, but it is worth the effort to try and figure those things out by ear, because it just gives you new vocabulary to work with, right? Things that a piano player would go to, you wouldn't even think to as a guitarist, but that's also a limit. There's things that you can learn and add to your bag just from studying different kinds of instrumentalists and kind of working it out on guitar as best you can. But that's it for tonight's lesson. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what we covered today, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, click the bell if you haven't already, comment and share. All that stuff really helps the channel and it's absolutely free to you. Also, if you like what we went over today, but it was just way over your head, especially the stuff with the C6-9 chord and all that, if you're looking for someone to come alongside you in your guitar journey, kind of show you the ropes, show you what you should be practicing, help you establish good habits, I'm more than willing to offer Zoom lessons, private lessons through Zoom. If you're interested in that, go ahead and drop me an email at tizoguitar@gmail.com. That's tizoguitar, like the channel name, @gmail.com. Just say, hey, I saw your stream, I'm interested in lessons, and I will get back to you with some information as soon as possible. Also, if you like these kinds of chords and you're like, oh, these are some spicy chords, I want to learn these, I do have something called Tizo's R&B Chord Library, which is a collection of 35 different chord voicings of various chord types that I've come across in my time playing R&B music, all in one condensed resource for you. So we have chord charts. I show you how to not only play the chords, but how to make progressions out of them, how to move these chords around the fretboard so you're not stuck in any one key. And every chord has a companion audio file and tab to show you where to put your fingers and make sure you're playing it right. All right. So if you're interested in that, the link for that will be in the description below when this gets posted to the channel. Otherwise, that is all I have for you tonight. Make sure to tune in on Saturday at noon. Actually, no, sorry. This week's Saturday live stream is canceled, but I'll be back again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Have fun learning this song and take care.